Hi, Chris, Ahmed, and everyone. شكرا جميعا لحضوركم. And now we're going to be having a session with Chris Walker. He's the CEO and founder of Refine Labs. Refine Labs is a digital marketing and advertising agency. They're specialized in lead generation. And here we have Chris with us. They're our partners, by the way. We have him with us to share his insights on how communication and digital advertising and performance media can help organizations, restaurants, and retailers survive this. So, Chris, how's it going there now?
It is going fantastic here in Boston. I know it's late for all of you in the Middle East, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. So let's start with this. We know, everyone now in during this pandemic, everyone has trust issues. We're skeptical about ordering food from restaurants. For myself personally, I'm someone who eats once or twice a day outside, and for the last month and a half, I've been cooking at home, so nothing outside. And here's the question: how can communication help restaurants and retailers in general survive in this era? Communication is how vital it is.
Sure. So the place I'd like to start with this is to in a little bit of empathy for trying to understand why people may not be as trustworthy as they normally would be. Obviously, there's quite a bit of a situation going on in around the world from a health and an economic standpoint. And so the way that I've always found to build trust is to, one, understand who you're trying to reach, the audience, understand and try and relate to what they care about and what they're going through at that time, and then try and deliver them either information or offers that help them to accomplish whatever they're trying to do. Maybe they actually want to cook dinner that night. And so in that case, maybe you'd like to give them a recipe and instructions for how to cook that, which then helps you build trust, which eventually might lead to them wanting to buy from your restaurant later that week.
So here basically we're talking about a change or transformation in the business model from a restaurant that sells me ready-made food. I love it ready-made. To them reaching to a place where they're sharing their secret recipes with the audiences, right? Imagine you're doing, for example, KFC at home.
I really like this idea for someone that it feels innovative and ready to execute, especially during this time. Mainly just to learn, maybe you could completely reinvent your business based on this idea, which is that perhaps if by producing a video show that teaches someone how to cook your top 5 best recipes that you offer, and then either offering one of two things, either offering the ingredients as a delivery where they could actually follow the video and then cook it themselves, or I think what would actually happen is they would watch the video of you cooking it and then just ask you to deliver the cooked food. But either way, I think that it works out in your benefit.
Okay. So here comes the importance of content. What are you telling? What are trying to convey through your content? Maybe hygiene, maybe showing them where you actually do the cooking, right? And here comes the question that how can brands become meaningful and gain the trust of their audiences? How, give us some insights and examples.
Sure. So the first thing that I look at this is, in order to generate someone's trust, you need to be able to reach them somehow, right? So traditional advertising mechanisms like billboards may not work anymore. And so first off, you need to be able to have the opportunity to even tell them something which helps them trust you, which is why I've been continuing to use digital ads as a mechanism to reach people in that way. And I really like this idea for restaurants as well, which is that if you go into, if it's Facebook Ads Manager or Snapchat or whichever platform you decide is the best for you, you can build a geographic radius around your restaurant and say, 10 kilometers or 15 miles or whatever you decide is the right range around your restaurant, and then select everyone that fits in that radius, and then deliver them advertisements for, we're doing it for a couple companies in the Middle East, and it costs less than a cent to present your advertisement to somebody in that area, which then creates awareness about your brand and your restaurant, and hopefully over time you're able to build trust through awareness.
That's basically cheaper than printing an A4 paper.
100%, and better, I would argue, and more effective.
Yeah, right, because you can convey more information and messages through that. Speaking of the digital advertising and being able to reach, the competition is growing online. Everyone is trying to go online, reach their audiences online. So here's the question. Everyone wants to be visible. How can a restaurant still be competitive online, reach the audiences without spending a fortune?
Sure. So the first place that I would start here is to assess where you're spending money to get customers right now. And so the things like printing things on an A4 may not be an effective use of that money. And then you could take that $500 and then use it in a different way. So the first place I always start is, where are you spending your money right now to get customers? Maybe you have a loyal customer base already that you don't have to spend money on. They come, once a week or a couple of times a week to your restaurant. However, if you want to continue to build your business, you need to find customer acquisition strategies. And so I don't believe that these are platforms where you need to pay a fortune, especially given the geographical situation of your restaurant. Like, there's only so many people that are potential buyers. Let's say that it's a couple thousand if you own one location. Like, there's only so many people that live around your restaurant. And so for that reason, it should not be a fortune to continuously reach these people. The other thing that I look at, and I'm sure that this has a question here, I might be getting a little ahead of you, Omar, is that if you are looking at delivery, there are basically two options that you have. One is that you go through an aggregator, like the aggregator gets the customer for you and takes a large percentage of your sale. And the way that I've always preferred to do it is to have a direct relationship with the customer. The margin is better, the loyalty is better. For a lot of different reasons, I prefer to go that route. And so if you're not going through the aggregator is probably going to bring you business, and that's fantastic. But over time, you want to be able to try and keep people in your own database or your own funnel, or however you want to talk about it. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. And if you have that extra margin, let's say it's 20 or 25%, then you're able to allocate that back into your business to continue to advertise to help grow.
That's a very good point that I was actually planning to ask you about. We know that the restaurant business is all about cash flow, and the profit margins are getting thinner and thinner and thinner day after day, right? So here's the benefit of having your own audience, building your own audience, collecting data. The question is, and this also, by the way, that was actually before the pandemic. People and businesses were going towards the cloud kitchens, no location. So here comes, I wanted to ask you a question. What advice on strategies do you have for restaurateurs to drive more traffic to their either call centers or e-commerce, or either or, and how can they measure return on investment?
Sure. The first thing that I think about when you ask this question is about differentiation, actually. And so if I'm sure that whatever cuisine or type of category that you're offering, you have competitors in your area naturally. And so what about whatever you offer makes it different? Is it the spices that you use? Is it that it's premium? Is it that it's more clean? Whatever it is, I would start to figure out and try and go deeper into why you're different, and then help educate people on that place. It gives them a very clear choice. If you're a vegan restaurant and they want protein, then they might not offer it, but the people that are vegan will be attracted to you. So I really like taking a position and standing for that, which then attracts the people that want that type of thing. And so once you have your differentiation or your message, the next step is to figure out, how am I going to get people to know about it? And for me, it just goes back to advertising, or some other form of communication. I actually really like, and I think that this is an interesting strategy that I've been thinking about. I think some companies in the US, multi-location restaurants, are using this strategy, which is that you could go into Instagram or whatever platform and go into the search area and then search your town. And then when you search your town, it'll show up with the top 10 pictures in that area. And then I would click on whichever one you think is interesting, see who is posting it, make sure that they live in that area, see how many followers they have, and then offer them your best meal for free in exchange for them posting on Instagram about your restaurant. Which then, if they have a lot of followers in the area, you just gave away one free meal, which maybe cost you $6 or a small amount of money with the delivery on top of it, cost of goods sold. And you create a lot of organic awareness by somebody else posting about it. It's a very, very modern, localized influencer strategy that I really like. The second piece that I like from an organic, if you don't want to pay for advertisements, would be some form of content on whatever social platform you think is most applicable to your region. We do some advertising there. And so the things that work for us, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And so depending on whichever platform you're trying to use, you have to figure out what type of content is going to work best. And so on Instagram, it would be short videos, maybe of you dropping the chicken into the bowl or whatever. And on YouTube, it might be longer, like more instructional type of videos. And so when you put all of those pieces together, you'll eventually, ideally, be able to talk to people in your region remotely without them needing to see a billboard or come into your store or walk by the storefront. And through whether it's advertisements or the organic influencer strategy or any of the other tactics that I just mentioned, you're able to use call to action. So like, for instance, on a Facebook ad, there is a call to action with call now. And then you could put in, when they click the button, that it automatically calls your call center. And I think that one would, from a customer acquisition cost standpoint, especially if you're able to get a repeat customer, the customer acquisition cost to lifetime value of that execution, I think, would be net positive. And then there are other forms of that, to either drive people to your website or to drive people to make a phone call. And I'm happy, if you have a follow-up question, happy to go into more detail on any of those strategies or another one that you were thinking about.
Cool. That's very interesting. Micro influencers, people tend to trust influencers who do not advertise. Exactly. Or are not known for advertising.
Sorry to interject, for the audience, I love the people on Instagram that have somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 followers. I think it's a great number for a lot of reasons. One, probably because they don't need anything, except they're not going to ask for any money except for the free meal that you offer them. And two, when you have that amount of followers, most of the followers usually trust them and pay attention. Yeah. When you start to get into the 50, 100,000, a lot of people are not paying attention. They've done brand deals, and they're going to ask you for money. So if you are searching for that, I would look for people with somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 followers, and you could spend a little bit of time like looking at their profile and making sure that the followers are actually likely to be located around your store.
And they become actually your brand ambassadors. They defend you, and they stand by you in times of crisis. Mm-hmm. And it's very smart. On an average on an average, speaking of 2,000 to 5,000 followers, on average, how much the average of users or followers to a regular person? I think, is it between 1,000 or 2,000?
I would say the normal person has somewhere between 300 and 600 followers.
Mm-hmm. Cool. The last question I'm going to ask you, and this is very important, and then I'm going to wrap up and do a quick recap in Arabic for our
Lovely.
audiences. Yeah. So speaking of communication and trust, communication is very important. Content is very important, but is trust only gained by communication, only by talking, or by actually walking the talk? And the question two, can you tell us about maybe one brand or two that you know of are actually doing this transformation in their communication and reflecting on their business model?
Sure. So I believe that the strongest marketing channel are your happy customers telling other people about it. And that goes across any type of business, and restaurants are included in that category. And so I think there's basically two steps to this. One is that you need to communicate with someone so that they give you a shot, so they come and try your food. And then the second step is that you need to deliver to a level where they're very satisfied. And ideally, they're either a repeat customer, they tell their friends about how they tried it and it was so good, and then you get other customers that don't cost you any money because it's word of mouth for free. And ideally both, where they are evangelizing your brand or your store, your restaurant, as well as being a promoter or a marketer, a free marketer for you to tell other people about how good it was. And so, yes, I do believe that communication is a core piece to get a chance for someone to try your product, but ultimately the product needs to deliver.
Interesting. That's very valuable. Okay, Chris, I'm gonna wrap up very quickly. And speaking of that, we need to mention loyalty programs and how they help restaurateurs retain customers, and that's where the cash is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm gonna wrap up very quickly in Arabic. First of all, thank you for being with us today. So السلام عليكم، عم تسمعونا. انا شفت كذا حدا طلب انه ينحكى بالعربي، فانا حاعمل تلخيص هيك سريع للكلام اللي تفضل فيه كريس ووكر من شركه ريفاين لابز. حكي انه الاساس هلا، يعني من هلا ورايح، الاساس بنجاح اي مطعم او اي بزنس هو انه يتميز، differentiation، يقدم شيء مختلف عن اللي بيقدموه عاده بالسوق. يبحث يشوف مين عملاء، شو نوع العملاء اللي بده يتوجه لهم، ويقدم لهم شيء مختلف. هاي رقم واحد. رقم اثنين، طريقه المحتوى والتسويق اللي لازم تطلع يكون فيها شويه هيك احاسيس، يعني يحس مع الناس اللي عم بيسوق لهم، مش بس بروموشنز كل الوقت. يكون في شويه احاسيس، يكون في شعور مع العميل، ويقدم له شيء بحب يسمعه. حكي عن شغله مهمه واللي هي موضوع الانفلونسرز، المؤثرين، ونصح باستخدام المؤثرين للمطاعم بالذات اللي هن عندهم عدد متابعين بين 2000 و5000 متابع، لانه الناس بتوثق فيهم. يعني ما بيكونوا عاده عم يعملوا دعايات وحملات ترويجيه. نصح كمان انه الواحد يبني قائمه عملائه لوحده. يعني يكون عندك كول سنتر. وبالمناسبه يعني اليوم عملاء فودكس فيهم يستغلوا البي او اس، البوينت اوف سيل سيستم، يستغلوا السوفت وير، لانه في كثير خواص بتساعدهم يعملوا هذا الموضوع، زي موضوع برنامج الولاء، ياخذ ارقام تليفونات عملائه، يستخدم الكول سنتر في ابلكيشن تقدر تصير تستقبل طلبات من عملائك، وتعمل الموقع الالكتروني تبعك او الموبايل ابلكيشن لتصير تستقبل طلبات عملائك. واخيرا ركز على موضوع سعاده العملاء. الناس بس يكونوا سعيدين بالخدمه او المنتج اللي عم بتقدمه، كتير رح يكونوا حينبسطوا حيخبروا غيرهم عن نوعية الخدمة اللي تلاقوها عندك بالمطعم، وهذا الشيء بيخليهم يرجعوا لعندك ويصرفوا فلوس عندك ويتعودوا عليك ويوثقوا فيك. And here I gave a quick recap in Arabic to our audiences.
Fantastic.
I'd like to thank you so much for being with us, Chris. Nice talking to you, and stay safe.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good to see you, everyone. Have a good day.
You're welcome. You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye-bye.